book called Shining Legacy way back in the day, shortly after I graduated from college, that served to promote positive images of Black people, historical figures, people that at that time were not part of the everyday parlance. We knew about Martin Luther King, we knew about Frederick Douglass, but most of us didn't know anything about Fannie Lou Hamer. We didn't know about Denmark Vesey. We didn't know about Paul Robeson, Joseph Cinque, Toussaint Louverture. These were some of the images that I tried to portray within Shining Legacy so that young children would not feel that they had nothing to be proud of when they see a doll that looked like them, okay, that they did not need to be ashamed, that they came from a great and mighty people, that their ancestors performed intricate eye surgery operations in old Timbuktu and in Mali, that their ancestors performed the first open heart surgery successfully, mastered the making of blood banks which saved thousands upon lives in World War II, revolutionized the shoe industry by designing a method to latch the top part of the shoe to the bottom part. These were all Black people, and I didn't learn about any of it in school. It was all self-taught, and I vowed that I would try to do what I could to make sure that youth did not have to stumble upon their great history, that it will be part and parcel of things that they knew as part of their growing up process. There was a time when you would go down the street and you would be at the bus stop in those days when there were buses and no metro, and you would see a brother or a sister with a copy of Frantz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth under their arm, or Donnell Lee's Don't Cry, Scream, or Malcolm X's autobiography of Malcolm X, and things, positive images and views were on their minds. And you kind of look around and say, well, what happened? Okay, what happened? Well, drugs were poured into the Black community. You didn't see people at the bus stops with material that would, prop up their minds. You would see them selling drugs. You would see them weighted down and with the heavy chains, and you begin to wonder, is this intentional? Okay, is there some kind of conspiracy going on somewhere? I remember reading the book, The Godfather, by Mario Puzo, and in that book it said, now, The Godfather was arguably fiction, okay? But in that book, it said, the drug trade, we're going to keep it in the Black community with the dark people. Let them lose their souls with drugs. And even though that was arguably fiction in The Godfather, when you see it played out, that is basically what was happening. The drugs were being poured into the Black communities. You never heard of any Black folks bringing drugs over in the huge airplanes or in the cargo ships or anything along those lines. We're talking about penny ante street dealers, which the government historically was going after, as opposed to the huge, shall we say, kingpins who was importing it over. And we are the ones, have been the ones, who have been languishing years upon years under these mandatory minimum sentences in prison, targeted, okay, as a result of these drugs that we have not been bringing into, the community. And then what happens once one is finally released to prison, it's like Jim Crow all over again, second-class citizenship. You can't get housing. Okay, you can't even get into public housing if there's a drug arrest. You can't stay at grandma's house who lives in the projects, okay, because there are laws that say that if you're a convicted drug offender, you cannot go in there. And if you do in your car, grandma is put out in the street as well. You can't get public benefits if you have a felony conviction. You can't get educational loans. There have been study after study after study that shows that the more education someone has, the less likely they are to recidivate, to go back to prison. Yet, you can't get those loans to go back to college. And even most egregiously, you can't get the right to vote. Felony disenfranchisement, the most basic aspect of your constitutional gratis, you can't get that. And don't talk about the box. The box, have you ever been convicted of a crime? You can't get a job. Can't get a job. Can't get into college. So you have all of these strikes against you, what we call the collateral consequences of a criminal conviction as a result of this mass incarceration. This mass incarceration has been an experiment, and it has been an experiment that has been an abysmal failure, and it's been an experiment on the backs of Black people and other people of color.